of trouble never hangs around when he hears this mighty sound.
Here I come to save the day.
That means that Mighty Mouse is on the way.
Welcome to Creightons podcast, and today with me, I've got Justin White. What's up, man?
Not much, man. How's it going?
Good. Alright, for those of you who may not know, Justin, he's a college guy, but he is like the younger version of a Kevin Smith, except cleaner. You know, I mean, he's just cleaner, and it's just, he knows everything you could possibly know about comics, the movies and stuff, and we're going to just, like, geek out with it today.
Sounds perfect.
So, the first thing I got to ask, how do you compare Daredevil, the Netflix, to Gotham?
Honestly, if I had to compare the two, the first thing I'd look at, honestly, maybe on one level would be acting. I know in Daredevil, I forgot the actor's name for Matt Murdock, Daredevil, but comparing his acting to some of the earlier episodes of Gotham, I remember there was one episode in particular with Gotham. I can't remember the episode name or exactly what happened into it, but I know there was one part with like this human trafficking ring or something, and with these two pseudo kind of villains that were working for like this one human trafficking ring, and the acting for those two people was really, it was over the top and kind of unnecessary, kind of,
overacting.
Kind of overacted, you know, it was kind of too menacing for something like that, it was just kind of silly, you know. Whereas in Daredevil, and even like the first few episodes, it's just really well written, and they had some really good actors on it. Yeah, and it's kind of like, you ever seen Look Who's Talking? Actually, no, I haven't.
You haven't seen that? Well, it's basically like these babies that, it's Bruce Willis, the voice of the baby, and, and the first movie was good, you know what I mean? It was pretty good. And then the second one, it got weirder, like he had a sister, but it was Roseanne Barr. No, I think it was Roseanne, but it was her as the child. And then, like the third movie, it was like the boy, the girl, and then two dogs. So it got weirder as it kind of got like really overacting. And John Travolta was in all three of them, and that third one, he did some overacting in it. I mean, like there's a spot in that movie where he's like with this person, and she's like, "Oh, the driver's gone. He's gone," and it's like someone killed him, what? He's gone, It's like, yeah, that's a little overacting with it,
Another thing you could compare him with is the level of I don't know how you'd say this, but like darkness of the things. You look at Gotham in general, look at the city. It's really dark, really bleak, depressing place. Comparing it to even Daredevil, I should say, it's a pretty kind of dark show, especially in the very beginning of it. Him, especially his first costume or whatever. It's pretty crazy. Honestly, I would venture to say Daredevil is more of a darker show than Gotham.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe,
And see, and I like Daredevil because, like, you remember the very first beginning of it, where it showed, like, where was it his dad, or, no, it was him, Matt Murdock, and he was laying on the streets, and his dad was over him. I mean, that's like...
That was a crazy scene.
That was the greatest opening to anything. I mean, the rest of the series could have sucked, but I would have been like, that got me right.
I thought it really perfectly set the tone for the whole show. It gave you a little bit of backstory on it. Everything you needed to know to dive right into it.
Yep, exactly.
I was like, great way to introduce it.
And it was like Guardians of the Galaxy. It opened the same type of way. I'm like, and I am, but I'm not a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy. But the beginning of the movie, I was like, if this movie sucks, I love the beginning.
Oh, yeah. It had a really, really great beginning. I'm a big fan of that movie, but it really did have a really good beginning to it. Because it shows, who exactly this kid is, what's going on with his mom and his family and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a good way to open it up,
Yeah, and it's kind of like, too, I know you hadn't seen the new Avengers movie, but you will. And when you see it, now I don't want to tell you too much about it, because that'll ruin it for you. But I'm sure you and everybody else in the world seen it where that trailer where they're sitting around trying to pick up Thor's hammer, Yeah. And which I think is funny because, Captain picks it up and it moves and Thor's like, what the hell? Exactly. But it's before that, see, they were, and I'll just throw this in there so you'll know, but they, Tony Stark had like this giant party, like a victory party, over a battle. And so it was great, in that party, they tie in elements, if you read comic books, like, for example, Tony tells everybody, invite your friends, we're having a party, for this victory. Well, when you watch it, you'll see these old guys with World War II veteran hats, And when I first watched it, I was like, damn, that was nice, They just invited these World War II vets. But then I think back on it, that was Captain America's friends from World War II. That was his old friends,
That makes sense.
That made sense. I was like, well, damn, that's a nice touch, of Marvel to tie that in. And then, of course, Stan Lee, he made his cameo. And that was great, so...
I definitely can't wait to check it out and see it.
Yeah, and seeing, there's all kind of little... things if you really pay it, but there's so much it's hard to pick up. I don't know. Have you ever read Black Panther? Or
I actually haven't.
Okay, well, there's somewhere in the movie, and I can't remember where, but the Black Panther had his arch villain. It was somebody that, but there's something in there that when I saw it and I thought back on it, I was like, that was something that tied in to the Black Panther, you know what I mean? And so I guess with Captain America Civil War, it'll all, you know what I mean? I think that Marvel, now I'm going to get your opinion, but Marvel's kind of you could watch every Marvel movie from beginning to end and you'll see how one the previous tie into the next.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that?
I really do. You can definitely tell, especially you can make connection points between almost every movie, between all of them. They do a really good job of that. Like one giant web of movies and it all kind of connects together.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and which I got to tell you, I'm glad they didn't bring back, what was that, that S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that died in the first Avengers movie?
Oh, man, Agent Coulson?
Yeah, that's it, Agent Coulson. I'm kind of glad they didn't bring him into the Avengers second movie. Because in the... Have you ever seen the TV series?
I've only seen the first... I think I've seen the pilot and maybe 2 or 3 episodes after that.
Oh, right. And didn't they bring Coulson back, through some kind of alien regrowing...
From what I remember, I didn't hear exactly how he got brought back, but I don't think... From what I saw, they never really... in-depth explained it. I could be wrong about later on in the series.
Yeah, it was some... It wouldn't have made much sense if he would have showed up in this,
Of course, yeah.
I mean, diehard fans like us, we could have connected it. But your average, person that walks it, would be like, hey, didn't that guy die in the first one? He just mysteriously came back like Jesus,
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man, and see, what do you think about Captain America: Civil War?
Honestly, I can't wait for it, to tell you the truth. I think it's gonna be pretty awesome. Between them fighting, you also have the Hulk and Iron Man and everything, the Hulkbuster suit and all that. That's whatever's gonna happen. It should be pretty good.
Now, is the Hulk and Thor supposed to be in it, or I didn't think they were?
Honestly, I'm sure they'll find a way to throw them in somewhere.
Yeah.
Because, see, I've never really read the Civil War comic series.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've heard little bits and pieces and tidbits about it. See, I haven't really read many Marvel books aside from Amazing Spider-Man, stuff like that. A little bit of Hulk a few years back, but I'm more of like, as far as comics go, I'm more of like an indie and DC guy.
Yeah.
But whatever way, I'm sure they'll find a way to throw them in there.
And speaking of DC, we got to bring it up. Batman versus Superman, the ultimate hot topic.
That's definitely a big one.
Yeah. Now, see, they based that movie off The Dark Knight Returns, or The Dark Knight.
Yeah, The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, see, I remember reading the comic on it, so I think it'll be interesting to see how they keep close to the book or what they change.
See, I think some of the only things that they're not going to be able to get away with changing with the Dark Knight Returns, adapting it, pieces of it into a actual movie, is his age. Possibly Carrie Kelly as Robin. I doubt that's going to be in there.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it's going to be, for the tone they're setting, it doesn't feel like it's going to be in there. Stuff like that. And I think the only things that they are really adapted from it is the fact that they're fighting, the bat suit. Honestly, that may be a couple of the only big things to it. Because there should be nothing with, like, see, in The Dark Knight Returns, there was so much they pack into one giant, like, between 4 issues. I mean, you got to fight between Two-Face, the Joker, the mutant gang leader, and at the end, Superman and everything. It's crazy. It's so much they pack into it.
I think that they whoever had the idea of it, read the comics and said, let's make just Batman versus Superman, which has always been the ultimate top of the two. So I think it's going to be good. It seems well produced. You know what I mean? It don't seem like something like a movie I would make or something like I'm selling hot dogs to race for this movie. Woo, it's like.
I think they're probably going to do pretty good, though.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have mixed feelings on how Man of Steel was, but hopefully they look at, Zack Snyder looks at what he did with that, and looks at ways to improve it, because he did make a few changes to the Man of Steel costume, with lightening up the colors and everything, which is good. One of my complaints with Man of Steel was the costume, and the whole feel of the movie was really depressing and dark. You look at Superman, it's symbol of hope and happiness and everything.
But you felt like you needed to go on Dr. Oz's show. It's like, man, you got problems,
Exactly. Hopefully they take from that, and it's supposed to be with Batman anyway. It's supposed to be dark, brooding, mysterious. With Superman, I personally don't feel that way.
Right. I don't know. It just seems like they can't quite nail it with Superman. No. They get close or something, but it's like they just can't get it. It's like
exactly can't hammer that nail in. It's hard to.
But it's kind of hard when you're, I guess, dealing with the most perfect, indestructible thing on Earth.
Exactly. So on the topic of that, I got to ask, who do you think? And it's a big, open-ended question on it. Movie aside from it, who do you think, bare-knuckle fist fight, with no prep time or anything, would win just in like an all-out battle between the two?
With Batman without kryptonite?
Well, I guess he could have it on him, but it's one of those things I just take into account like the fact that neither one of them has any kind of prep time. They don't know anything about each other.
They just go at it.
Go at it.
Like you see on Facebook, the fight videos. They just run up and start fighting.
Just knowing nothing about each other.
Man, that's very open-ended.
It really is. There's so many variables that go into it. Honestly, I'll tell you what I think. Honestly, if it was just straight up, they didn't know anything about each other, and they just kind of clashed on the streets or whatever. Honestly, I'd probably have to give it to Superman. I don't think there's so many ways he could go about it. With the fact that if Batman wants to get any kind of strikes on him, he probably, I know the dude's strong, but he probably would break some kind of bones in his arm or hand, fist, whatever, legs, anything, because he's the Man of Steel, you know, it's a tough dude.
Yeah.
However, like, if Superman, you know, while Superman doesn't really have fighting skill, like, he doesn't, sure, he's strong, he's fast, but however, he doesn't know any kind of martial arts. He's kind of, one-hit wonder, if you will, you know, he gets the punch in and then he kills it or whatever, but, you know, honestly, it's one of those things also, I don't think Superman would intentionally go in and use all of his power to take him down. I think he would probably hold back a little bit and refrain from, you know, making a crater in the guy's face, you know?
Yeah.
I think he'd hold back a little bit.
I do too. I would think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really do. Yeah.
It's one of those things where if neither one of them knows anything about each other, you know, who knows?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And which I want to see, you know, and it's kind of like the Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's been geeking out over the new Star Wars trailer, which I have. I know I have. Yeah. And J.J. Abrams, he's the one directing it, right?
I believe so.
And honestly, you know, that's a very open-end thing. But I think he's really going to do well because he did the Star Trek stuff. And he did great with it, I thought. I mean, I'm not a big Star Trek guy. Yeah. But I was like everybody else, I guess. You know, just rented a red box or watched it on HBO. And when I watched it, I was like, damn, this ain't that bad. You know, this is really good. I liked it. And so if he did that well with Star Trek, I'm thinking he'll do really well with Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I believe so. I can't wait to see what he pulls out with it. It should be good. From the trailers that they've showed of it so far, it looks like it's going to be a pretty good movie. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of funny seeing Harrison Ford. He's all white-haired now. You know? But that's all right. You know, it's one thing an actor can't beat his age. You know?
Yeah, so, it's the only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I just can't wait. And and it was like we was talking about on the way up here. You see, and there's a lot of gamers too out there. But Universal Studios, they're incorporating Nintendo. You know, and then like, you know, we're comic book Marvel, DC people, but to gamers, they're just as bad as us.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just as bad, and like, I want to see what Universal is going to do with that other giant of Nintendo. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I can see them incorporating little small portions of the theme parks into that. It's dedicated to all walks of Nintendo life. You know, you got the Zelda, the Mario, and all that stuff. Possibly some kind of like roller coasters and motion rides, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'd be right there with it.
Yeah, definitely. Same here. I'd be all for it to tell you the truth. Yeah.
I know, man.
Have you been actually following up and watching Gotham ever since the thing?
Yeah.
So you watched the season finale of it?
Yeah, I did.
What did you think of all that last episode? Because there's so much that happens in it.
Yeah, to me, I felt like it was like cliffhangers.
Yeah.
I mean, it kept me on, like, dang, why didn't you answer this for me, you know? I gotta wait till next season.
Exactly. Not to spoil anything, but the whole thing with, like, the fireplace and everything, opening up, and, you know, it's like, I gotta wait till next season.
I know.
Yeah, you have so much between, like, what happens with, like, the dude that's going to be the Riddler and the Penguin taking, you know, really growing up and taking control of the situation and everything. There's a lot of stuff that happens, and I really can't wait for the next season.
And, of course, Selena Kyle, you know, when she's, you know, cozying up to, with, what's her name? I can't remember.
Fish Mooney, though.
Yeah, she's now got the one color different eye, you know, from the doctor, you know, the doll maker. Yeah. And, but that's the one thing I like about Gotham. They're showing the actual villains, and they're, like, giving them a more story to it.
The whole show is very villain-centric. I like it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I do, too. It's kind of like, so I don't know how long they're supposed to run this season. Are they? Or...
Honestly, I don't know how long they're going to do the series as far as seasons go. But I'm pretty sure that was the last episode was the end of season 1.
Yeah.
I follow a couple of the actors on Facebook, and they posted a couple of posts on there saying that it's like, okay, here's the season finale or whatever.
Yeah.
So it would make sense for them to leave it off like that.
Yeah, and they... I don't know if they... But...
There were a couple of curveballs I didn't expect in the episode, but, it's always good to see that, keep you on your toes.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. I know. But, yeah, other than that, that's about what I got, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, here's something to talk about. You played the Batman video games, haven't you? Like the Arkham games or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They have a new one coming out just next month, I believe. Something like that, called the Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight or whatever. Have you been keeping up with that at all? Have you?
A little. Like, I've got on YouTube and looked at the trailers. That's about it. I don't know too terribly much more about it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they're keeping a lot of it under lock and key as far as identity of the villain and everything. They're making it to where it's like, they're trying their best not to let anything leak, which is always good. And, honestly, I can't wait for it. I thought it was going to be coming out last year. Or eventually, it was like, before they were like, okay, this is the release date on it. Never in my mind would I think that, okay, they'd push it back a bit. Because that's one of the only reasons why I got one of the new consoles. Granted, they're so expensive, but, it's like, okay, I figure I'll buy this console, and the game will come out in a couple months. It'll warrant the purchase of a really expensive new console.
Yeah.
But it's like, when you find out they push it back, it's like, oh, no.
Man, yeah.
I like the idea that I guess I gotta respect that they're taking their time with it to make sure that it's good and better than Arkham Origins, because that's two different companies that made them, WB Montreal kind of made Arkham Origins, that last one.
Yeah.
And there was a lot that was wrong with it, but it was a decent game,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
liked it, yeah.
I thought the story was really good on that one, but it was more or less a copy and paste of like Arkham City as far as everything else goes with the combat, the layout, the structure, and everything. But I think they're going to be taking a lot from that, seeing a lot of the things that they did right and they did wrong, and honestly, they're going to make it pretty good game.
They're going to make it like, the one game. I think it's going to turn into like that Legend of Zelda, back in the 80s, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
See, they say that, Rocksteady, the company that makes it, they say that it's going to be the finale of this Arkham trilogy. However, they said that, well, they haven't said that it's going to be their last Batman game in general, or last superhero game. So you look at, I'm sure this one game is going to be selling so much that they're going to be like, okay, well, we got all this money, let's look into another facet to look into, I could see them honestly making like either another part of the universe with Batman in like a game, or maybe even somebody like Superman or another...
Or Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, making like a giant game between it,
I mean...
It's hard to make a game based around Superman, where you can play as him. Because it's hard to think, because, like a lot of those adventure games like Zelda and all those, you got like a life bar that, every time you get hit, that it knocks you down a bit. With Superman, how can that be really the case? Because if you're fighting, just say, for example, if you're Superman, you're on the ground or whatever, fighting like bank robbing thugs. Let's pretend it's like the 1940s, hitting around thugs and stuff. How are they going to really do any damage to him?
Yeah, exactly.
The 9mm and the Tommy guns and everything. How is that really going to hurt him? It's hard to do it unless an idea that I had with it. You make, like, for example, make him fight one of his big villains. Look at Lex Luthor, Brainiac, something like that. Let them develop, say for example, Lex Luthor develops some kind of drone pilot, like airplane things, maybe, or like some kind of robots that, can use and abuse kryptonite, for example.
Yeah.
They have like kryptonite-powered bullets and machine guns that, are trying to mow them down, and you got to fly up and, destroy them, and that could be like your main enemies or something. I think that would get old pretty quick.
That would be neat.
But that's an idea. Hint, hint to Rocksteady or anything.
Right.
It's like you can take a little bite from
they
that.
Can put you in the credits. Thanks, Justin, for this idea.
That would be awesome.
I'm famous.
That would be cool. That would definitely be cool. But it's one of those things where it's like every time there's been any kind of like Superman video game, it's hard for them to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yeah, it
Whereas
really is.
you look at like Spider-Man and Batman, they're not immortal. They're not they don't have impenetrable bodies and stuff, and so it makes a lot more sense for them to be fighting human enemies. Well, and it doesn't take as much imagination to think of human enemies.
Mm-hmm.
It's not nearly as much.
Well, and another thing too, like with Batman and Superman, with like Batman, I'm talking about their characters now. It's kind of like that's who I could be, and then Superman is like this is who I want to be.
Yeah.
So there's two different. It's kind of like the best profiling aspect I can do with anybody. I say, who do you like? Batman or Superman? Mm-hmm. That tells me so much about you off the hand. That's like, they tell me Batman, I'm like, this fool probably needs a psychologist.
Uh-huh.
But if they're like Superman, I'm like, yep, it's mama's boy. You know what I mean? Or that's the all-American apple pie eating guy,
Definitely.
But if they say, Batman, it's like, yeah, you're the dude I want to hang out with at the bar and then leave, with my own ride.
Exactly. But honestly, you compare I'll compare DC to Marvel really quick.
Yeah.
Not the franchises themselves, but some of the characters. There are some really huge similarities. You look at you can compare Thor to Superman.
Yeah.
They're both strong. They both have, their powers and whatnot. You can compare Tony Stark to Batman, and Bruce Wayne.
Exactly.
Both really smart, really rich, and they know how to work, electronics and stuff to their advantage. Stuff like that.
Both playboys.
Yep, definitely. That's another big factor into it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they both know about how to get the women and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
And, that is... and see, if I was like Warner Brothers, talking about like movies, man, I would be like, if somebody quit the Marvel team, I would be out there and be like, I will give you whatever money you can make, and come work with us so we can try to get our crap together so we can do, I would do anything. I would give them just whatever I could to try to get them over here, you know what I mean? Because you have to admit, Marvel is really doing awesome with the movies.
Oh, yeah. I fully agree. It's, once again, another comparison between the two. But you can compare, the Marvel Cinematic Universe between DC, what they're trying to develop. Marvel, in my opinion, they're blowing it out of the water with the live-action movies. They always have been. They probably always will be, but we'll never really know until it happens. DC, on the other hand, they're kind of doing really good with the video games, and with Warner Brothers at the helm of everything. They're doing good with the video games, and they're doing good with the cartoon animated movies. Although a lot of those have been really good. The past couple months, they've been kind of on line straddling good and bad, but it's they've been making really good ones. Like you take
Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Yeah. Wasn't that Warner Brothers?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
They did really well with that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They really did good with that. But you take a look at some of the I'll reference some of the Batman animated movies that Warner Brothers and DC's done. Like there's one called Under the Red Hood where he fights Red Hood. And it's Jason Todd and everything, and it was really cool. They make a really good story out of it between that, and there have been quite a few of them that they just did really good on, with adapting a lot of the graphic novels and stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why I'm hoping, and it's just me, I'm hoping, is that the Superman versus Batman, it'll put Warner Brothers kind of up to Marvel almost.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Awesome.
It'll be like, it's our savior,
Honestly, I'd love for that to happen, to give Marvel, Disney, or whatever you want to call it, to give them some kind of competition.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because it's almost like Marvel is really running the monopoly of monopoly of the theater,
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
Because, with the Marvel movies, we get at least 2 good ones every year, every other year. Mm-hmm. 2 really great movies. But with DC, and Warner Brothers, you get either a good or meh one every few years. Yeah. When it's like, come on, let's get it together.
I know, and it always upsets Kevin Smith so bad.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, damn, that's what it was like, I don't care, I love it, I'm the 1%er,
Exactly. So, what do you think of Ben Affleck as Batman?
What do they call him, Batfleck?
Batfleck,
yeah.
You hear that a lot. Batfleck.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm on the line. I'm on one of those, it's like, okay, I heard that about Christian Bale,
mm-hmm.
and I was like, I don't know. But actually, I thought Christian Bale pulled it off.
Uh-huh.
I didn't think it was a top-notch thing, like, he should get an Oscar, but I thought he pulled it off enough.
Mm-hmm.
He did it. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I don't want to say I hate this, that he's doing it,
mm-hmm.
or I love it. I want to see what he's going to do, and then I'll be able to... I'm trying to keep real open-minded, because
mm-hmm.
I've seen movies where it's like, really, Arnold Schwarzenegger, but then I would be like, that was the best Terminator movie ever,
Yeah, exactly. And you look at Michael Keaton as Batman, a lot of people weren't prepared for that.
Exactly.
And he's, in my opinion, one of the best ones.
One of the best, yeah.
You look at that, you look at the backlash with Heath Ledger as the Joker before it came out, and you look at him, top-notch performance. He's, he
is
made the Dark Knight. He made that movie. Honestly, at first with Ben Affleck, I kind of wasn't up to the idea of it. However, then I had to take a look at how many movies with him that I've seen that I actually loved, and there's quite a few of them that I can think of that I loved. Argo, he made that one; it was really good.
Yeah. All
the Kevin Smith movies that he's in, he's
really good.
Yeah, he's really good. He's a funny actor. He can pull off a good little variety of roles, and he's also packed on some muscle for Batman to put it on. So. Maybe his acting will go along with that. And maybe he can do a good job.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I'll admit, I watched the Jersey Girl with him and Liv Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
And when I watched it, I was impressed with his acting. Like when I was watching the movie, I was like, damn, I feel like I'm really watching this guy who's got a little girl, and I felt like...
There's a lot of drama. It was almost a more serious soap opera that wasn't as sappy, It was, it had a good little spits of comedy into it, so you weren't just constantly depressed or anything.
Yeah,
it had some good acting in it,
So that's why I'm really like, okay, I'm not going to say yes about him being Batman or no about. Let me just see what he's going to do.
Of course.
Because I want to go in it open-minded. I don't want to go into theater like some of these hardcore, comic people. Like they're hardcore and they're. I want to just give them a chance to see what's going to happen.
That's really all you can do,
Yeah, that's right.
So we see what happens.
Exactly. All right, man. Well, I think we've covered. That's kind of it.
Yeah, pretty much. We've touched on everything that's been happening lately.
Yeah, and
I just wish I had seen Age of Ultron so I could kind of go back and forth with you a bit more, but
Well, what we'll do after you see it, then we'll come back and do another podcast.
Sounds perfect.
So we'll do that,
perfect.
and then I can talk about more into it and see if you caught. Maybe you catch shit that I didn't catch.
Yeah, you never know. We'll definitely have to take a look at it.
Yeah, and I want to get up with what's that comic book place here in Mobile? 99 Comics.
99 Issues.
99 Issues. Yeah. I want to get up with them. Maybe we can do something with them or something.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I frequent there pretty often. It's a really cool shop.
They actually got a podcast or something. I don't know. Somebody was telling me. I hadn't heard it yet.
It could be either them or there's another big one over there that's it's called like FOS Comics. They're a pretty big store.
Yeah.
And you also have the Flea Market Comics. They're a really awesome store. I worked there for a little while.
Really? Yeah.
Really awesome people.
Mm-hmm.
The friendly staff, friendly customers, everything was really awesome.
See that guy at the flea market in Mobile? Yeah. See, that's cool. Everybody that's ever dealt with him, they was like, he is the nicest person in the world to work for.
Oh, yeah.
But every time I've been around him, he has been a jackass.
Yeah, he can definitely come off that way.
Every single time I've been around him, it's like, golly, I feel like I'm negotiating with the president, you know?
He can't be stern, you know. He can also have his, spouts of happiness and joy and silliness, he can be all right.
Yeah.
It's one of the things where I definitely can't badmouth my past employer, but, it was cool. It was fun working for him,
Yeah, he always seemed like, I've always heard good things about him from everybody else. So.
Definitely.
All right, well, we're going to wrap this up, and so I tell you what, we've geeked out enough of So, all right, folks, well, next week, I don't know what I'm doing or what we're going to be talking about, but there's no telling. So all I can say is thank you for listening, and thank you, Justin, for coming by, man. It was awesome.
Thanks for having me, man.
It was fun, man. It was fun.
Definitely.
We're going to have to do this again.
That sounds awesome.
All right, y'all, we're going to get out of here, so just keep it easy, keep it clean. I'm here with Justin, who likes to get batty when you talk about chatty, or chatty when he talks about batty. I should say that. You get chatty when you talk about batty.
Yep.
That's it, yeah. All righty, well, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm Creightton. I will see you later, and Justin.
See you later.
All right, y'all. Bye.